Local news to help keep you safe. Watch every night at 10 on WWL-TV.
WWL Louisiana News at 6:30 starts now.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Cherise Gibson. Some much needed rain is on the way to our area, which is good news for our folks out in New Orleans East that are still dealing with the smoke from that underground fire. Before we get into how this helps with that fire, let's find out just how much rain we can expect. Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin tracking it for us all right now. Chris, when can we expect even more rain?
Well, the rain is going to continue through the overnight and for much of the day tomorrow. It looks like, based on the radar trends and the models, we'll probably keep this general intensity, more of a light rain, maybe a few pockets of some more moderate showers, with the heaviest staying well offshore. Would have been nice to have gotten maybe a little bit more rain, but we'll take it in small dosage because it does help us out. And with the less rainfall accumulation expected, probably won't have any flooding issues. So far, rain accumulations have been generally 1/10 of an inch to about 2/10 of an inch. So not a whole lot of rainfall thus far. We will add to these totals through the night and for much of the day tomorrow. But in terms of intensity, that all looks to stay well offshore. That's where the low is going to stay. So the more intense storms stay generally south of the coastline, and with the exception of maybe a brief downpour here and there, I think it'll generally be kind of this lighter rain which sticks with us kind of off and on through the night and into the day tomorrow. As we head toward Wednesday, that low pushes farther to the west, and we will start to see a drying trend. We'll talk more about the rainfall accumulation potential and a cold front on the way for this weekend. More on that in a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. And as we mentioned, we're all hoping the rain will help reduce the smoke and possibly even put out some of the wildfires we've reported on recently. The one burning near New Orleans East has been very difficult for those firefighters to reach. As Eleanor Tabone reports, even the drizzle is making a slight difference.
They've indicated that this is really, they're hoping that this week they can make some serious gains on putting the fire out.
The New Orleans East Marsh fire has been burning for more than 3 weeks now. On November 7th, early morning fog and smoke from the fire resulted in near zero visibility on Interstate 10 between Irish Bayou and Michoud Boulevard. NOPD say there were 4 accidents involving 11 vehicles because of the so-called super fog. 1 person lost their life.
We've already seen the results of the cooling temperatures and just kind of the drizzle that's out there right now and light precipitation. It's really knocked down the smoke. Colin Arnold, Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness for New Orleans, says this cooler weather will reduce fog and the rain is helping reduce smoke. 8 pumps have been set up to pump water onto the marsh from nearby canals. We're continuing to pump somewhere between 1 million and 1.5 million gallons an hour onto the fire. Colin says potential coastal flooding probably won't raise the water levels enough to have a direct impact on the fire, but could help in other ways. It is going to raise the water levels in the canals and a lot of things higher, which is going to be more water for us to pump. He says we may see big improvements by the end of the week, but reminds people it's all dependent on weather. We could have a change in temperatures. It could go back up. We could start seeing some of that smoke again. He reminds drivers to be careful when traveling through the area, especially at night and early morning, in case fog develops. Eleanor Tabone, WWL, Louisiana.
And tomorrow on the morning news at 6, Dr. Corey Hebert is sharing how the wildfire smoke could be the reason for your allergy flare-ups. Join the morning team for that conversation over on WWL Louisiana Morning News. This morning, I-55 reopened in both directions 3 weeks after 3 deadly pileups. The northbound span has been closed so crews could replace part of the roadway that was damaged in the fiery crash. 7 people died and more than 150 cars were damaged on October 23rd. Officials say wildfire smoke and fog combined to send visibility to nearly nothing that morning. Those crashes are still under investigation. Kenner firefighters are asking residents to make more than double a property tax to support the fire department. The tax proposal appears on Saturday's ballot. The new millage would replace the current 7.4 mills established in 1983 with one for 18.2 mills. Fire Chief Terrence Morris says his department is the lowest paid and lowest funded in the region, with starting pay below $9 an hour. The tax increase would improve the pay structure. It would also help renovate fire stations, increase the level of training, and buy new fire engines and equipment.
Then we can do the things that we need to do to protect the community, because that's what it's all about and what it boils down to at the end of the day, that we protect the community, the residents of Kenner.
The new millage would cost the owner of a $300,000 home about $400 a year. The election is coming up on Saturday. Full polls will be open from 7 in the morning until 8 at night. You can find a link to your sample ballot on our website, WWL-TV.com. On election night, tune in to Channel 4 and you'll see the latest results and returns on the bottom of your screen with complete coverage on WWL Louisiana News at 10. Federal employees are waiting to learn the fate of our government. Congress needs to act or else all except essential workers will go home and all federal employees will go without a paycheck just before the holidays. Natalie Brand reports.
Congress has until this Friday to pass a spending bill to keep the government open. With lawmakers running right up to the deadline once again, federal employees are worried about their paychecks right before the holidays.
The vast majority make under $60,000 a year. They've got families to support. They've got kids to support.
House Speaker Mike Johnson has proposed a two-step stopgap measure to extend funding through January 19th for agencies including transportation, housing, agriculture, and energy. The other agencies, including Defense, Homeland Security, and State, would be funded through February 2nd.
There's nothing magical or mysterious about it. It would just be effectively two phases.
Already, the plan is facing pushback from some House GOP hardliners who are upset the proposal keeps funding at current levels and doesn't make cuts.
Democrats have also criticized the plan, calling it a recipe for more shutdowns. And it does not include emergency aid for Israel, Ukraine, or the southern border, setting the stage for a separate fight.
I'm not going to make a judgment what I'd veto or what I'd sign, but let's wait and see what they come up with.
The Speaker's plan could come up for a vote in the House as early as Tuesday. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Offered by the guest chapter.
A trail of controversy over New Orleans police officer Jeffrey Vappy and his work on Mayor Cantrell's security team. It has been extensive. There was his formal reprimand for payroll irregularities, a leak of confidential interrogations, an inspector general's probe, and more recently a setback in the NOPD's consent decree when the federal judge slammed the department for how it's handled its investigation. Overshadowed in the scandal was Vappy's appointment to the Housing Authority of New Orleans board, despite having no background in housing. Now, investigative reporter Mike Rolstein has uncovered that Vappy's involvement with Hanno went beyond those meetings he attended while on the clock for the NOPD.
As it relates to this Hanno thing, right? It was free, right? There's no financial gain I was getting from this, and I was allowed to do it at the behest of the mayor.
That's New Orleans police officer Jeffrey Vappy answering questions from internal investigators with the department's Public Integrity Bureau as to what he gained from being appointed to the board of the Housing Authority of New Orleans.
There's no stipend.
Correct.
No payment.
That's right.
No anything.
Nothing. Okay. Nothing but a headache, trying to help the people with the housing.
Vappy may not have been paid to serve on the board, but he failed to mention one lucrative perk that he received back in September of 2022. These records obtained exclusively by Channel 4 show that Vappy was one of 3 board members who attended a conference at Martha's Vineyard, the quaint and exclusive island off the coast of Massachusetts known as a summer hideaway for the rich and famous.
This is tremendously concerning.
Documents provided by Hanno through a public records request show that the cost of Vappy's trip was nearly $2,700 for his registration, flight, per diem, and a 3-night stay at the boutique Franklin Hotel.
Going to Martha's Vineyard, to say that it is a significant disconnect would be an understatement. It's a slap in the face to everybody.
The records show that Vappy went to Martha's Vineyard in mid-September last year to attend a conference by the Housing and Development Law Institute, HDLI. Vappy was accompanied by 2 other Hanno board members, Percy Manson, a banker, and Paul Richard, a real estate executive. The cost for those 2 members was about $3,000 each. City Council President J.P. Morrell questioned why any Hanno board member would need to go to a conference so far away, not just geographically, but seemingly distant from the problems that public housing residents face in New Orleans.
once you make the decision as a board to go to Martha's Vineyard, there's no Motel 6 there. I think that it's a tremendous, horrific message to the people of the city, especially those people who are trying to operate on the margins and live and handle properties.
The Hano board is made up of 9 unpaid members appointed by the mayor. They usually meet once a month. While Vappy was found in violation of NOPD policy for attending 2 Hano meetings while on the clock as a police officer, city payroll records show he went to the Martha's Vineyard conference on his days off. He was asked about his Hano appointment during questioning by public integrity investigators.
And how did you become a member of the Hano board?
I had a talk with my boss, which is the mayor. I just recently got a master's degree. I graduated in 2020 in government administration.
Right.
And I was asking her, how would one start their career outside after law enforcement?
But Morell and others have questioned what connection a 25-year veteran police officer assigned to protect the mayor has with housing issues.
This is not a throwaway board you should appoint anyone to. It's an important board that is directly involved in solving the housing crisis of the city of New Orleans. This is not a patronage board you throw someone on so they can go on vacations.
Hano operates mostly outside of city government and is funded largely by federal dollars. With the agency sending a New Orleans police officer like Jeffrey Vappy to a conference in Martha's Vineyard, Morell believes that more council oversight is needed.
I'm speechless. I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's going to have to be a significant revisiting, whether it be on the city or the state level, at realigning this board back to its mission.
Mike Perlstein, WWL, Louisiana.
We spent a year digging into how the past impacts the present, and the latest installment of my Follow the Line series will reveal how a history of discrimination helped create the reality we live with today. A reality that put African Americans at a disadvantage during the COVID-19 pandemic and hindered recovery efforts after Hurricane Katrina.
So we have eviction court data that shows where those cases are coming from, and we have infection and death data from COVID that shows where those cases are coming from. And it's no surprise to us that the same neighborhoods that were disinvested from and not offered an opportunity to thrive, not offered opportunities for home ownership or to build wealth, those same neighborhoods are the ones that today still, generations later are still being devalued and are still seeing the effects of this.
In episode 4 of Follow the Line, we explore how generational disinvestment can yield deadly results. Be sure to watch tonight on WWL Louisiana News at 10.
Light rainfall continues to fall across the area, and that will continue through the night and into most of the day tomorrow. There are some breaks, and as a matter of fact, that kind of increases sensitivity of our radar because a lot of what you see is very, very light, almost more of a mist of rainfall. There are some pockets of some slightly heavier, more moderate rain, but it does look like most of our rainfall through the next, say, 24 to maybe 36 hours will likely be fairly light, not expecting anything intense. And in fact, that should stay well offshore with a few occasional breaks here and there. So doesn't look like the initial model runs when we were talking about this rain event last week, calling for 5+ inches of rainfall. Doesn't look like that is going to be the case at all. Maybe 1 to 2 inches with a few locations, especially near the mouth of the river and down toward the coast, could see a little bit more than that. But I think overall we're looking at about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. And if the rain intensity continues where it has been so far today, even that may be on the high side. More intense rainfall possible again near the mouth of the river. Then as our system pushes farther to the east as we head toward Wednesday, we're on the drier side and far less rainfall by Wednesday. One thing that it will do in terms of water inundation will be some coastal flooding. We've got this strong northeasterly wind, which may pick up a bit more as that low gets a little closer. And as we head into the night and tomorrow, could start to see some coastal flooding, especially toward high tide at our Mississippi counties and all of our eastern facing shorelines. The areas highlighted in green, such as Jackson County, Lower Jefferson, Lafourche, and Terrebonne, a coastal flood advisory, just something to be cautious of, but where we'll likely see it is in the warned area, those counties and parishes highlighted in yellow. Upper 50s to low 60s outside right now, and we've been pretty cool all day today. In fact, our high of 66 was set at 126 this morning. Then the rainfall began and those temperatures came down, and we're likely not going to see the temperatures change over the course of the next 24 to 36 hours. Upper 50s, low 60s, and that's about where we're going to stay until our rain starts to clear. We stay rainy overnight tonight and for much of the day tomorrow, so have the rain gear handy again. But the good news is this is not an inundation of very heavy rain, so flooding not not really much of a risk. From rainfall, some coastal flooding outside of the hurricane risk reduction system, different story. Most gone by Wednesday, and then we will see a cold front move in on Wednesday, or this weekend. No rain with it, but a drop in the humidity, and our morning lows will be getting a little chillier. Here is the culprit for our rainfall, big upper level low. What that is helping to do at the surface is generate this surface low. This low is going to move right along the coastline. Now, one thing that was really difficult in forecasting our rainfall amounts was exactly where would this surface low go. Had it been on land or even closer to the coastline, we would be looking at a lot more rainfall and maybe even the risk of severe weather. Thankfully, though, with this farther offshore, that is where the most intense rainfall. We need rain. We don't want to get it all at once. And thankfully, this pattern will give us just kind of a few inches of rainfall, hopefully by the time it is all done with by late on Tuesday and into Wednesday. As this system pushes a little bit more to our east, that puts us on the drier side, maybe a few wraparound showers with us on Wednesday, but far less rain coverage, and we will continue to see a clearing out. So our numbers have started to come down. I'm thinking more of a 1 to maybe 2 inches of rain at the highest, with near the mouth of the river, maybe extreme Biloxi Marsh, extreme eastern St. Bernard, and perhaps even southern Jefferson Parish, maybe a little closer to that 3 inches of rainfall. Not really going to help us out for our month deficit, and certainly not anywhere close to what we have for the year. This is going to go down as one of the driest years on record. A front is going to move through by Friday into Saturday. No rainfall with it, but we are looking at a very nice weekend, drier, a little less humid as well. And then here comes another storm system. So we're looking at probably by Tuesday of next week to get another round of some showers. We'll hopefully clearing that out by the time we come around to Thanksgiving. Then maybe another cool down as well. High temperatures tomorrow, again, not really going to change much from where we are right now. Even going into Wednesday, we're back into the upper 60s to lower 70s, turning less humid by the weekend with a front, and then rainfall headed our way probably by late next Monday.
Hi, everybody. I'm Giveaway Dave, and this is my friend Giveaway Paul.
David Letterman is giving away the 20-foot-long, 8-foot-high Late Show with David Letterman marquee that graced the outside of the Ed Sullivan Theater from 1993 to 2013. A donation of $10 or more enters you into the sweepstakes, with proceeds going to Habitat for Humanity. The winner also receives a free trip to New York City for a meeting with Dave and his band leader, Paul Schaefer. Enter the contest at giveawaydave.com. It runs through New Year's Eve.
Hey, it's Dolly to celebrate my first ever rock album called, what else? Rockstar.
Dolly Parton is holding a special one-day-only listening event in movie theaters coast to coast on Wednesday. You can buy tickets at dollyrockstarevent.com. Select theaters may also hold encore performances on Thursday. And Paramount Pictures is celebrating the 40-year anniversary of the Oscar-winning picture, Terms of Endearment.
I got some good news. What's that? I'm unofficially pregnant. If you're not happy for me, I'm gonna get so mad if you're not happy.
Shirley MacLaine is Aurora Greenway, her mother.
Why should I? Why should I be happy about being a grandmother?
The comedy drama that explores the complicated relationship between mothers and daughters is being re-released on 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray and digital, along with bonus material tomorrow.
The mother-daughter is eternal, and you try and have these little secrets that you tell yourself to be the guiding principle of a movie. And one secret in it was Mama's always right.
That's your Eye on Entertainment. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The good news is the Saints head into their bye week alone in first place in the NFC South. The bad news is everything that happened in Minneapolis Sunday. The Saints were poor on both sides of the ball, and maybe the most maddening problem for the black and gold right now, their complete inability to slow down mobile quarterbacks. Minnesota's Josh Dobbs ate the Saints alive in the first half. The Vikings built a 24-point lead. New Orleans just couldn't make up that deficit. Containing running quarterbacks has been a consistent problem this season.
You know, we got to continue to look at ways that we can keep quarterbacks from being able to, run the ball on us. I thought we did a good job of keeping Dobbs in the pocket. And we had some opportunities to, get him down and we just weren't able to finish and get the quarterback on the ground. And so, we'll keep looking at how we can be better at that.
Yeah, and that is absolutely one of our 4 takeaways from the misery in Minnesota, and that is coming up tonight at 10. A new work week and a new Pelicans injury. Larry Nance joins the walking wounded with a broken rib. He's out at least 2 weeks. He joins C.J. McCollum, Trey Murphy, and Jose Alvarado as Pelicans who cannot play because of injury. And the new college basketball polls are out. The LSU women are not the #1 team in the country anymore. Their loss to Colorado drops them from #1 to #7 in the latest poll, although I have a feeling they'll be back at #1 at some point in the not too distant future. Back with more in a minute.
The light rain will continue through the overnight and for much of the day on Tuesday. Probably not going to pick up a great deal. Most of our rainfall totals thus far, a few tenths of an inch. So we're not even talking a half inch of rainfall yet. If we get up to an inch plus, I think that would be some of the higher amounts that we see. We will start drying out by Wednesday. Cold front moves through this weekend, lowering the humidity for Saturday and Sunday.
All right, Chris, thank you. And thanks for watching WWL Louisiana at 6:30. We'll see you back on Channel 4 for the Eyewitness News for WWL Louisiana at 10. And until then, have a great night.